for someone with no income, you sure talk big." As my brother-in-law watched me expressionlessly, he spoke. He was unaware that the misplaced remarks were his own. Having lost my parents early, I longed for a family. I quickly married the man I met through matchmaking. He was kind and fun. He too mentioned he had lost his parents. This coincidence seemed to strengthen our connection. Later, his brother and his wife greeted me warmly, and I felt reassured that I was no longer alone. However, after the marriage, the true nature of the brother and his wife began to show. The husband I thought was kind was not at all kind, and didn't contribute to the household expenses. His brother and his wife, assuming we would live together, unilaterally moved into our house. Moreover, the brother and his wife, whom I had felt close to, started using convenient excuses to put all the household and financial burdens on me. I refused to accept this and took a firm stand, and their attitude changed drastically. The brother believed he was supporting me, his brother's wife, and scorned me. The reality was different. I hated being alone. I didn't want to feel lonely anymore. But being treated this way, I felt alone. I didn't need such a husband or family. I'm happy to say goodbye to a husband who's close to being unemployed. What? Are you making excuses for losing? My brother-in-law and husband needed to face reality. I am Lucy, a 28-year-old housewife working part-time at a supermarket. Being a housewife implies having a husband, but yesterday, I fought with him. Well, calling it a fight might be an understatement. A trust issue emerged, creating a significant rift between my husband and me. I grew up in a family of 3 with my father and mother. Despite being busy with work, my loving father and my gentle but frail mother always kept the house bright and lively. Things changed when I was in college. My mother, frequently sick and hospitalized, passed away. My mother had always been frail, often confined to bed. As she grew older, her hospital stays became more frequent and lasted longer. Deep down, I harbored the fear that she might not live a long life. But when that fear became reality, it hit me with unbearable sadness and a profound shock. I spent days crying, unable to attend university, which deeply worried my father. Somehow, I managed to graduate. But I couldn't engage in job hunting and started working part-time at a local supermarket, feeling guilty about staying home without working. My father told me not to push myself. But I wanted to support each other and live together, and I wanted to prove that through my actions. I was making efforts, thinking of easing my father's worries. Then, my father was diagnosed with a disease. Hearing the diagnosis, I was lost for words. I didn't believe in God anymore. Just when I was trying to move forward, I wanted to strive together with my father. It had only been a few years since my mother had passed. Why was everything being taken from me? Overwhelmed by despair, the person who encouraged me was my father, lying in the hospital bed. I wanted to spend more time with you. I will definitely watch over you with your mother, so live happily. I'm sorry to leave you so soon. You will be fine. I will always support you. With many words left to me, my father departed to join my mother. He had arranged with a lawyer in advance. And I managed the funeral and inheritance matters with the lawyer's help. Later, I decided to sell the family home. It was an old house, and my father had instructed the lawyer to dispose of it because of the high maintenance costs. After agreeing with this decision and completing the first anniversary of his death, I sold the family home. I then rented a modest apartment for singles. Now, I truly became completely alone. Neither of my parents had siblings, and all my grandparents had passed away. While I have friends and colleagues, the loneliness of not having blood relatives or family was indescribable. Wanting to address this loneliness, I noticed a matchmaking party poster in a building I visited and immediately signed up. I vaguely wanted a family, partly because I was utterly alone. If I had a family, I wouldn't feel alone. I also wanted to be part of a couple like my parents, who were very close and tenderly supportive of each other. I aspired to be like that. That's where I met Aaron. Aaron, 4 years older than me, introduced himself and told me he worked at an IT company. We exchanged contact details after a cheerful conversation, and we started dating. Since we met at a matchmaking event, both of us had marriage in mind from the start, allowing us to discuss various topics early on. When I mentioned that my parents had passed away, Aaron shared his experience too. Aaron's parents had also passed away during his high school and college years. And now his brother and his wife were his only family. His brother was well settled in a sales job. This commonality seemed to strengthen our connection. A while after we started dating, I met his brother and his wife and greeted them. Nice to meet you. I'm Sean, Aaron's brother. I'm his wife, Gina. Nice to meet you. Watching my cheerful brother-in-law, who clearly had a knack for sales, speak on a wide range of topics, I understood why when I learned his wife was also bright and worked in customer service. By that time, Aaron and I intended to marry, so we shared the news with them. We hadn't decided when yet, but his words, "It's nice to have a family grow," made me want to register our marriage immediately. The fact that I was going to have a family made me ecstatic. On our 1-year anniversary of dating, we registered our marriage. And we became family. I have a family now. I was no longer alone. The joy was so overwhelming. However, after moving in with Aaron, I started noticing more and more strange things. After we married, I moved into the old 2-room apartment where Aaron had been living. We decided to save money first before looking for a larger house. Since my home appliances were relatively newer, I brought them along. Before the marriage, we had agreed to split the rent and living expenses evenly to keep things simple. I paid half the rent to Aaron, and it continued to be withdrawn from Aaron's account as before. Aaron was supposed to give me half the living expenses to manage from my account. I created a family cash card for my account and gave it to Aaron. He could transfer money himself and withdraw it in emergencies. We were managing it together. We set the living expenses so we could save a little. If we saved on expenses, our savings would increase. We agreed to try this method and discuss any issues as they arose. But Aaron kept making excuses like, "I forgot to withdraw the money," or "I paid for work-related travel, so I don't have money right now," and continued not to give me the living expenses. Something was definitely off. Wanting to keep a clear grasp of our household finances, I decided to sit down with Aaron for a serious talk. That was yesterday. To put it simply, Aaron's story was full of lies. Despite being married and becoming family, instead of trusting each other, it was all lies. When I pressed Aaron, who was evasive, he confessed in desperation. First, Aaron was not working at an IT company. He lied to impress at the matchmaking event. He actually worked part-time at a casino and earned less than I did. He also hadn't told his brother the truth, saying it would be shameful to admit he was just a part-timer while his brother worked in sales. If he felt ashamed, he should be looking for a full-time job instead of sticking to part-time work. I was speechless. I don't know what he thought of my silence, but Aaron panicked and raised his voice. "If you tell my brother I'm a part-timer, I'll divorce you right away. You don't want to go back to being alone, do you?" While I felt indignation at his arrogance, it was also shocking to realize that Aaron would choose his brother over me. It was sad and infuriating to be so easily thrown away, despite being married and family. What I found most unforgivable, however, was that his parents were actually alive. During our conversation, Aaron mentioned my parents at home. He had previously said they were dead, so why was he now talking about his parents? When pressed, he confessed that the story of their death was a lie. They were alive, he just hadn't been in contact due to poor relations. He thought matching stories with me would make the conversation more engaging. But what kind of person lies about living people? Moreover, it turned out that his brother and wife had also lied. When we first met, they had said, "It's been just the two of us brothers." What an incredible thing to coordinate lies about. I couldn't believe it. Learning these facts, I could no longer trust Aaron. It was all lies, and I couldn't even tell where the truth was. We had our first real argument about these issues. I felt strong resentment and even considered divorce, but I couldn't bring myself to say it. I wanted a family, and divorcing would mean returning to being utterly alone. Despite the situation, the fear of being alone influenced my emotions. So, today, I prepared breakfast as usual. And went to work at my part-time job as if nothing had changed. I couldn't bring myself to speak with Aaron, but nothing had changed. My rational mind telling me this situation couldn't continue clashed with my emotions. Not wanting to be alone. This conflict made it hard for me to think clearly about what to do next. Lucy, welcome back. After finishing my shift and returning home while troubled, I was surprised to find my brother-in-law and his wife in the living room, sitting with Aaron and drinking beer at the mini table. I hadn't heard that they would be visiting. Why would Aaron invite his brother and sister-in-law the day after our argument? Was he planning to discuss yesterday's issues again? But he had said not to reveal that he was working part-time. Great news. Sean and Gina will be living here from today. When Aaron said that, I thought I had misheard. Were we going to live together in this cramped 2-room apartment? I looked around our bedroom and found several boxes piled up in the corner. Those must be the brother-in-law's belongings, making walls around the laid-out futon. We're family now, and Gina said it would be more fun if it was lively. So you should be grateful, right? From Aaron's words, it seemed it was his brother and wife's idea. Is your work okay with that? It's quite far, isn't it? Actually, we were fired yesterday. The economy, you know. They're cutting down on people.
Yeah.
It's really troubling. As they answered my question while drinking beer, it seemed unbelievable that both would be suddenly fired the same day. So I suspect it's a lie, but I can't understand why they would lie to live here. Is it until you find the next job? Maybe so. Sean's answer was vague. He said they would be living here, but what about the cost of food and household chores? Until now, I had been paying all the living expenses and doing all the household chores. With more people, the costs and effort increase. By this point, it's clear that neither Sean and his wife nor Aaron care about me. That's why I decided to speak up clearly. So, how much will you contribute to the living expenses? And since you're not working, I would like you to help with the household chores. I thought it was essential to set clear boundaries from the start. Otherwise, everything would be dumped on me. I don't mind if they think I'm a harsh daughter-in-law. If I'm lenient at the beginning, I'll surely be used conveniently. I noticed Sean's expression disappear when he heard my words. Since the husband earns, a part-time wife should at least do the household chores, right? I remembered then, Sean doesn't know that Aaron is just a part-timer. He thinks Aaron works in an IT company and earns a good amount. Even so, there's no reason why Sean and his wife, who suddenly showed up unemployed, shouldn't do the chores. He hasn't even answered my question. Aaron is glaring at me. He's probably worried that I'll reveal his job situation. You two are unemployed, right? Since you have more time, I'd like you to prepare dinner and take care of cleaning and laundry. Even if I don't mention Aaron's job now, if Sean and his wife want to live here, they should show some proper attitude. That's why I said it. What? Are you serious? Now, Gina, frowning deeply, asked back. Her attitude showed she had no intention of helping. If you contribute to the dinner costs, I can consider that part of the living expenses. But I told you, we got fired. We can't afford things like food expenses. Then please take care of all the household chores. If you can't do that, please leave. I spoke clearly to Gina, who was snapping back. These people must have come here intending to freeload from the start. They think Aaron earns a lot and relies on him, but in reality, we are living on my income. It's absurd they expect me to do all the household work as well. I refuse to carry everything on my back. For someone being supported by Aaron, you sure talk big. Don't you feel sorry for them? You heartless person. Sean, believing Aaron earns well, said mockingly. Furthermore, to keep me from saying anything unnecessary. Aaron started berating me. This is Aaron's place, right? What right does a wife have to say, get out? You should know your place. You lack manners. Who do you think you are? That's right. Apologize to them. Frustrated by the three of them sitting and yelling while drinking beer. This is their true nature. It seems the brother-in-law and his wife have no intention of leaving. Aaron is on his brother's side, just trying to save himself, and useless. This is pointless. I'm going to stay at a hotel for a while. In a 3-to-1 situation, I am at a disadvantage. More than anything, I don't want to be here. Such an unkind woman. Just get out. If the wife is just a loudmouth good for nothing, it's better if she's gone.
Yay!
Hysterical wife.
Bye. Bye.
As I turned on my heel and headed for the door, their voices followed me from behind. I seriously need to think about what to do next. Staying at a hotel because I don't want to be with them, but it was necessary to gather my thoughts. That was a good decision. After staying at the hotel for a few days to think calmly, I decided to go home once. To talk properly with my husband and his brother and his wife, to put an end to this situation. I unlocked the front door. When I opened the door and entered the house, there were piles of empty takeout containers, plastic bottles, and beer cans on the floor. At the same time, the house was empty. That's because almost everything was gone. Not just the large appliances I brought when we got married, like the refrigerator, washing machine, and microwave, but also the table, shelves, and blanket. On the floor of what was the living room, my clothes and accessories were sloppily piled up, with nothing but trash around. Wondering what was going on, I called Aaron. The lazy brother's wife finally decided to call. I thought I was calling Aaron's mobile, but Sean answered. Sean, where's Aaron? No, what's going on with this house? We moved. Isn't it obvious? It's full of trash. You clean it up. You're just a part-timer and don't even appreciate your husband who earns for you. And neglect your household duties, so you might as well clean up properly for once. It seems Aaron still hasn't told his brother the truth. He still thinks I'm being supported, which is increasingly amusing. The reality is so different it's almost laughable. Just live a poor and lonely life while you regret. He said, laughing. He might think this will make me cry and suffer. Really, this person, without realizing it, he's actually amusing me. I'm actually happy to say
Goodbye
to a husband who's almost unemployed. What? Are you just making excuses because you're a loser? I'm getting a divorce. Please tell Aaron that. I'll congratulate Aaron on the divorce then. The call was abruptly cut off. I came here today to discuss the divorce with Aaron. It seemed Sean wasn't taking it seriously, but my mind was already made up. I didn't want to be alone again, but the moment Aaron and those three ganged up on me, I realized I was already on my own. Therefore, it's better without the three of them as they just add unnecessary stress. Staying alone in the hotel, I thought I would hate being alone, but it was actually very comfortable. It made me realize that I am better off without Aaron and the others. With that settled, I quickly packed up. Taking only the essentials and leaving the trash behind, I left the room. I don't need it anymore, so I left the keys on the shoe cabinet at the entrance. I didn't even lock the door. Whatever happens, there isn't my concern anymore. If they say they've moved, let Aaron, the leaseholder, handle the aftermath. Stepping outside, I first set Aaron's contact to auto-reject on my phone. Then, I called a number I hadn't used in a long time. Time to start cleaning up. About a month after this turmoil, an unknown number called my smartphone. I answered, expecting who it might be, and unsurprisingly, it was Sean. I had figured he would call eventually. What the hell did you do? Where's the money? The money you withdrew from my account without permission was your doing. I dealt with the theft. The account I had given Aaron a family cash card for was also where my part-time job salary was deposited, so there was some extra money there. Aaron had been withdrawing money using the family card and spending it. Probably, Sean and his wife were also counting on the money in my account. And even after I separated from Aaron, withdrawals continued. That's why I closed that account. Right after I left the house, I changed the deposit account for my salary. I reported the family card as lost and proceeded to close the account. That's why the money can no longer be withdrawn, nothing more. What are you talking about? That was Aaron's money. What are you even saying? Aaron has never given me any money. What? Weren't you getting living expenses from Aaron? Aaron still hasn't told the truth, has he? Or maybe he lied about providing the living expenses, while he was the one withdrawing money from my account. How could he? He was just a part-timer at a casino, and he hardly even went to work. What? That casino shut down last month, didn't you know? So doesn't that mean he is completely unemployed now? Yes, the casino where Aaron said he was working had closed last month. It wasn't attracting many customers and was apparently unprofitable, leading to its closure. That means Aaron has lost his place of work. Unemployed. So that money, Aaron was giving it to Aaron working at an IT company was a lie. That money was my hard-earned salary. I hadn't heard anything about that. That's because Aaron lied. By the way, is that liar Aaron there? If he is, could you put him on the phone? I was about ready to take action. It was good timing that Sean called today. On the other side of the phone, Sean was frantically calling for Aaron. Hello, Lucy? Aaron came on the phone, his voice lacking any of the authoritative tone he once had. I'll just state the purpose of this call succinctly. Wait, what happened to the account? I'm divorcing you. I want to meet once to discuss this and have you sign the divorce papers. Write down the place and time I'm about to tell you. You'll need to meet me there. I didn't listen to Aaron's words, just conveyed what needed to be said. Even if you don't come to this discussion, or if you show an uncooperative attitude, I'll initiate a divorce through legal action. You wouldn't want to be sued, would you? A lawsuit. Threatening a lawsuit wasn't really practical, but Aaron isn't knowledgeable about the law. So I figured scaring him would be effective. A lawyer will be present on the day, so make sure you come. Thank you. I ended the call without waiting for Aaron's response. I immediately set that number to auto-reject as well, and took a deep breath. Just one more step to go. The meeting place I told Aaron was a hotel lounge. It's usually not crowded and has a calm atmosphere, perfect for discussions. Aaron arrived on time as promised. Apparently, the threat of a lawsuit made him come. However, he brought Sean and Gina with him. That's fine. I expected as much. I also brought a lawyer, the same one who helped me when my father passed away. He's skilled in divorce and inheritance law, and I had asked him to handle this case. We settled at a reserved lounge seat, and I quickly laid out the divorce papers on the table. My part was already filled out and stamped. First, write this now. What I wanted most was the signed divorce papers. We could take time with the rest, but I wanted the divorce to happen immediately. I wanted to sever ties with Aaron and his family as soon as possible. Aaron looked over hesitantly, but when he saw I wasn't saying anything, he started writing as if resigned. The lawyer was watching, so there should be no errors. Sean sat back and watched next to Aaron but didn't seem inclined to intervene in the divorce. Please remain silent forever. I collected the signed divorce papers and carefully put them in my bag. I'll submit them right after this. I will demand alimony from Aaron for never having given him any money during our marriage. For the broken trust due to his lies, and for the mental distress they caused me. Don't be ridiculous. You're just greedy because you're in need of money. Sean snapped at my statement. I was disappointed that he couldn't keep silent, but no matter what he said, my feelings wouldn't change. I'm not in need of money. As if you could say that with your meager part-time salary. I have real estate assets, actually. What? I didn't know about that. Aaron reacted to the word real estate. Because I didn't tell you. What do you mean? You own a land? I inherited it when my father passed away. My father owned several properties that generated rental income. As his only daughter, I naturally inherited them, and actually, I earn more from them than I do from my part-time job. Keeping silent about it is underhanded.
Yeah.
That's right, I want a division of property. Give me half of that land. I was honestly surprised Aaron knew about division of property. But unfortunately for him, his claim wouldn't hold. I glanced at the lawyer sitting next to me, who nodded slightly before speaking. In a divorce, the division of property applies to assets acquired during the marriage. Inherited property is considered separate and not subject to division. Therefore, the land cannot be divided. The lawyer explained calmly, and Aaron was left speechless. No matter how he struggled, there was nothing Aaron could gain from this divorce. However, now his brother and sister-in-law spoke up. Hey, why don't you just stop the divorce and cooperate with Aaron? He'll work properly. He can do it if he tries. That's right, you can start over. It'll be okay. Their previously domineering attitude was gone. Now that they knew I had an income, they were merely trying to ingratiate themselves with me. They are nothing but despicable parasites. I'm getting a divorce. How about you three stop leeching off other people's money? It seems they are a family of like minds. Aaron, Sean, and probably Gina too, always thinking about the easiest way to benefit themselves. Aaron. Apologize to Lucy. Huh? It's partly your fault that we're getting a divorce. I have nothing to do with this. You should start paying the rent and stuff since I've been paying it until now. Why should I? That's why I'm saying, stop the divorce. You and Gina just need to start working. What an embarrassing sibling quarrel. The brother and sister-in-law had probably planned to rely on the younger brother's earnings, while dumping all the bothersome tasks on the sister-in-law. However, their plan backfired. And now the younger brother was trying to get his older siblings to take care of him. And this was the outcome. In any case, it no longer concerned me. With the signed divorce papers in hand, my goal for today was achieved. I called over the lawyer and left more money than usual on the table before standing up. I decided to leave the bickering siblings behind and exited the scene. I headed straight to the municipal office to submit the divorce papers. The follow-up was left to the lawyer, and I would just receive updates periodically. As for the claim for damages, the lawyer brought it up as a consultation with Aaron's parents, exposing their wrongdoings, and the siblings were taken back home. Then, the parents paid off the compensation in one lump sum. Aaron's family ran a small factory, apparently struggling with understaffing and barely making ends meet. The reason they had initially left home was to escape taking over the poorly performing family business. Having disliked the idea of inheriting a difficult business from their strict craftsman father, they had fled. But with the compensation paid on their behalf and their previous laziness exposed, they no longer had a way to escape. Gina was also living with them now, being strictly trained by her mother-in-law. I learned later that Sean, though he had a job in sales, had poor performance and attitude, leading to his dismissal. Thinking Aaron was earning well, they had flattered him to live together. But nothing turned out as planned. As a result, I returned to living alone. But I realized that being alone isn't necessarily bad, and I've come to appreciate the peace it brings. Moreover, I found hobbies and activities I enjoy and interacted with people at work, which kept me quite busy. As a result, I made new friends and even found a romantic partner. Now, I often think about how happy and enjoyable my days are.